Everybody, welcome back. So before we go too far, I just wanted to mention about yesterday. I was very under the weather, and about all I had the strength and energy to do was make one note on my Discord about being under the weather and having to postpone the stream. I'm still a little bit under the weather, but I did medicate myself, drink a lot, sleep a lot, and allegedly watch the leaked episode of Game of Thrones, but we won't talk about that. Instead, we're going to get to stream number 9 schedule. Now today we have something that we've been working towards, and that is creating our map. Day 1 of it, of course, because this will be a multiple stream endeavor here. I don't anticipate this will take 3 streams. I'm gonna kind of try to go 2 to 3 hours today, if I can, and whatever is left on Monday, we'll just get to that. So if we take a look at what we've done the previous 8 streams, apart from stream 1 and 8, of course, we have our trinkets, our quirks, strings, inventory changes, loot changes and additions, new potions, we have new affixes, camping skills, we learn how to make encounters, add lore, make town events, new enemies, edit curios, make summonable enemies, and even create a boss. I mean, we've done so much that we can now move on to a very, very difficult topic with Darkest Dungeon modding, and that is creating your own map. And in this case, creating your own quest that is linked to your own map, rather than just creating a quest that's a random map like the boss quests. Instead, this is going to be very similar to the tutorial quest that's scripted, or the Darkest Dungeon quests. So, this is a very big topic to cover because you need so many different things to make a new map, a new quest work without issue, without bugs, without crashing, most importantly. And it's best to start off with just knowing what you want to accomplish first. So we're gonna close this. I'm gonna pull up my stream. I'm not gonna pull over my stream overview. I want to get too ahead of ourselves here. But what we want to do is we want to create a difficult boss quest in the ruins that appears randomly from a town event. So we can already take this information and break it down into different sections. We have a boss quest that takes place in the ruins, and it appears from a town event. So we can already look at the code that controls boss quests. We can take a look at the code for the ruins, which will be relatively the same as the other areas, and we can take a look at the code that controls quests from town events. So let's just take a look at the first thing on our list, which is a boss quest, and this is not just a random mission, but rather a plot quest. So if we come into campaign quest, and if we look at the plot quests file, right away we see this plot tutorial Crypts, which Crypts is also the in-game file name for the ruins. And we went over this in our stream number 7, was it? 7? I just had it up here. Yes, we went over it in stream number 7. We went over the kind of this file and how to break up these individual parts. So we can see here this ID, which of course is going to be set by us, and it goes all the way down to these additional provisions here. So we have a lot of different variables that we have to work with and that we have to make sure are working correctly. Let's come back to the vanilla files a second. And if we come into the DLC, we can easily see how we need to set up our plot quests. If I can get to it here. We can see that these are simply additive files, much like all the rest of the files that we've been making. we simply need to make our own file with our mod underscore quest.plotquest.json, and we can start to implement the code needed to make our plot quest work. So let's do that. Let's minimize this. Let's go over to our mod campaign. Let's make a new folder called quest. And we can simply come over to, let's get out of the DLC. Let's just do the regular stuff for now. Because I want to utilize this this plot tutorial quest code just to work off of, because that's the best way I think to mod your own things, is to use examples. So let's close out these two and let's get rid of everything that we don't need from this, which is a very long list, but pretty much everything all the way down to, we just need to make sure that the brackets are closing properly. And that should be up to here. Perfect. And for the ID, we'll put our mod plot quest. Remember, it doesn't matter. I'm just naming it this because I'm unoriginal and still a little under the weather. So doubly unoriginal. Let's just go down and fill in the things we can fill in for now. We don't need to worry about the rest of the things. We can get to them when we need to. You know, of course, like the map name, we haven't decided that yet, or the goal IDs. We're going to get to that as we go along here. But for now, let's start to change some things. It's not going to have an achievement. Dungeon level, remember, this is the level that appears next to the skull on the map. And this determines when a quest shows up. Now, I personally don't know what to set this to. So if we come over to the modded game, and if we take a look at something like Wolf or even the Crow trinkets, we can see that these dungeon levels are set to 0. So I don't think this needs to be set to anything other than 0. Quest, is it a plot quest? Well, let's see, are these ones plot quests? This one is, Wolf is, maybe yes, this will be a plot quest. Type is not going to be an explorer, instead it's going to be, much like the Crow quest, it's going to be a kill boss. So we'll put kill boss. Dungeon Crypts, difficulty 1. For now we're going to keep this at 1. Most likely I want to have just a single difficulty, probably of, or we can do 3, we could probably do 3, although that might be more difficult. I don't really want to get too crazy here with things, so instead I'm just going to keep it at probably 5. We'll make this like a champion level quest. The length will be 2. Number length is 1, 2, and 3. There are other lengths, and you can even create your own lengths. But for now, we're simply going to use the medium. And this way, this tells the game to set it to give the provisions that you would find in a regular medium dungeon. It doesn't get too complicated there. You make your own length. You do need to add some strings and adjust provisions, and if you don't, it could cause crashes. So for now, we're just going to keep it like that. Map name we are simply going to get rid of because we have not yet created our map. We will be getting to that soon though. The goal IDs. Now this is perfect because we have not actually created an ID for this yet. If we come back to the modded games files and we take a look at the quest generation, I'm sorry, not the quest generation, it's in the quest types. We can see that these goals are set here, and then the IDs, or the types, are right here. So we need to find out how Crimson Court handles the addition of these and simply copy it. Of course you could copy this, but there's a lot of fluff in here we don't need. So it's better to see that if new IDs are created, which they are, we can simply copy what is existing in this file and modify it to our needs. Alright, so let's go ahead and copy that. Paste it over here and name it to our mod. Alright, let's open that. And we can get rid of everything. I'm going to keep one just so we can paste over it easily. Types as well, we can get rid of all of them except for one. It will be a boss mission though, so we can keep that. Dungeon, remember to set it to crypts at the ruins. And up here, let's find a kill boss mission. So I'm just simply going to copy the Necromancer A and paste it in here. Not needed? Yes, I think we do need that. Alright. We can get rid of that. So instead of kill Necromancer A, we can name this ID to anything. You need to be careful about this though. You can't change the type. That is hard-coded. You can't add new types of quests. You can simply add new IDs that have the existing types. So for the ID, we're going to do, instead of kill Necromancer A, we're going to come over to our mod and see what we used for the skeleton captains. It was D, E, and F. So because it's a champion mission, we're going to be using the F one. So we can do kill skeleton captain F. Perfect. And in the monster class ID, because this controls what enemy to actually spawn as the boss, it will be the skeleton captain F. Alright, kill monster, show us quest. That looks good. So now we can copy this ID, because it is made, and we can paste it into our mod's plot quest goal ID, which is right here. Alright, so this looks good so far. Completion reward. We're not going to worry about that right now, though we can come over to an existing plot quest. I just closed that. Shouldn't have done that. Let's look at the plot quest for just one of the champion bosses, which I feel like we're missing it. We are. Forgot their name this. Alright, so plot kill Necromancer 3 we have right here. The completion rewards for this. If we wanted to, we could simply come up here and copy the existing code. 15,000 gold. Heirloom, it does not have a boss trinket, so you do want to get rid of that. And that looks about good. If you wanted to give it any other items as a reward, you can simply follow the same format as you would find in the inventory file. Just make sure that these numbers are in order, so it shows up correctly. Otherwise, you may have conflicting items showing up, and that would be a problem. Additional trinket completion rewards is very common. We do not want a very common. These rewards are very rare, so let's reward that instead. What's up, can't stay with you today. Sister's birthday. Good luck and have fun, people. Peace mind. Drink water. Yes, I am drinking something. But thank you for showing up. Hope you could stay longer, but that's okay. Have fun with your sister's birthday. Over here, we do have these. Is progression true? But again, we are looking at the Necromancer. Now, we probably don't want is progression to be true because that assumes that this quest is needed to spawn other quests, and it's not. And as we can see here, under the Wolf missions and the Crow missions, is progression is labeled to false. So we definitely do not want this to be set to true. We're going to set to false. Is repeatable. We do want to set to true because it can spawn again from the town event, correct? Has statue contents is whether or not it will show up in the statue and show that, you know, it's like an in-game achievement. I'm not sure how to explain it, but if you've ever looked in the statue, there are little checkboxes with certain plot quests in there, and this one Boolean value controls that. One Boolean value in strings, though, so we will need to set some strings for this. Completion dungeon XP is set to true. This means that when you complete it, the heroes will get, or not the heroes, but the dungeon itself will get XP from having completed this plot quest. Is town progression goals enabled? True. Yes. Can you retreat? Yes. I don't want to worry about these. You can keep those the same. Surprise and scouting enabled. Yes, we want those. Keep all of these the same. These are merely for Darkest Dungeon quests, Wolf quests, and Crow quests. As quest select warnings, yes, this means that if you don't bring trinkets, whether or not it'll warn you about that. Provision warnings is, as it says, warnings about whether or not you brought provisions. No suggested trinkets because that's only used for DDQ2. And let's see, additional provisions. No, there are no additional provisions for a boss quest. So this looks good. This looks like we have everything set up we need to. We have our plot quest types that are set up correctly, I hope. So we can close all this for now. Now we have a couple things we want to do before we continue. First off, as I said in the beginning, it's best to know what you want to accomplish. So in addition to just being a boss quest in the crypts, being difficult and spawning from a town event, we also want to use all of our new affixes that we made. We want to use our new boss, of course, which will now automatically be used. We want to design a medium quest with about 3 to 4 fights in the path before the boss, probably 2 to 3 obstacles, 2 to 3 food checks. I want to do a secret room, a couple Iron Maidens, because if you remember from our previous streams, the Iron Maidens can now spawn the skeletons, so I kind of want to throw those in there for fun. And that's generally what we want to accomplish. So I want to open up something that is available within the guide. Let me see if I can pull that up again. We go to profile. If we click on the official modding guide, ignore that other one that I was intending to make years ago. Where is it? Hand design dungeons. So if you come down to hand design dungeons, I created a section with a Google sheet that I made that will allow you to kind of get a tutorial for how to make your own maps. And we're going to open that up now. So I'm using a dark Google Sheets thing, which does make this look a little bright and odd. But we're going to go over it very kind of in order here. So this is what it looks like to design a quest. It's done all within a spreadsheet. It's very easy, but it takes some time to get used to and to understand. And there are a couple of little things you need to know, but they are explained through comments, which I have put in here. So first off, you can see this blue thing right here, this room entrance. And as my comment says, which I will read out because I don't think on YouTube that the resolution is going to be good enough for some people to read this. This room acts as the starting room for this dungeon. Only one of these may exist on a single map, of course, as it is an entrance. And next to it we have a bunch of these little boxes with C's and semicolons in them, which I can, if we want to. Here we go. We'll do this to make it a little bit easier. So we can see on these that my comment on these say the corridor is directly adjacent to a room act not as a corridor tile, but as a door tile. These tiles will not appear in-game, so the length of the corridor between the start room and the room to the right is essentially 6 tiles minus 2 doors, so 4 actual tiles. If you know anything about your Apprentice dungeons and Darkest Dungeon, they are 4 tiles in, or before I would say the most recent change, they used to be 4 tiles in length. That is essentially what this creates. But the 2 tiles, as it says, adjacent to a room, so in this case, these and these would be door tiles. Those are considered, or the quarter tiles, these are considered doors. And they won't appear. So the only tiles that the player will see in game are these 4 tiles. Excuse me. And now directly adjacent to this room entrance, we have just a regular room. This is a room that has no curio encounter, and we'll call a random room background from all available ones in the dungeons folder. So this, very simply as it says, is just a room. There's nothing special about it. There's nothing there's no encounter, no curio, absolutely nothing. Hi Heather, welcome. I see you've been lurking for a while. Please, if you have any questions, by the way, while you're watching, please do feel free to ask. And if you're watching on YouTube, this is, as I said earlier, this is probably the most complex thing that, one of the most complex things you can get to within the game's modding. So please do feel free to ask questions, and I will answer them. So if we continue on from the right, of course, we hit this C semicolon trap. And as the comment says, this is a trap. An unscouted trap will be placed on this tile. And remember how tiles appear in-game and how the tiles adjacent to rooms are actually the doors. So this will appear in the second actual tile from the room on the left. This tile will not be visible. It will only be visible on scout. Let's continue right some more. And we hit this room with MASH in it. This room has an encounter, but it's not a defined one. Instead, the player will get a random room encounter similar to what you would find in a normal dungeon. So if we put this map into the ruins, or if we just, I would say if we put this room MASH tile into our map, it would simply call a random encounter from all of the available encounters. So that's very easy. Next we have C with an obstacle. So this is a corridor tile with an obstacle. As the comment says, when placed on a hallway tile, the player will run into an area-determined obstacle that will need to be cleared by a shovel. Is this map shared online? It is. It definitely is. If you go to Steam and you look on the official modding guide, down in the hand-designed dungeon section, you'll see a link to this Google Sheet that I'm on now, or the XLS file for Excel that you can download and use. And when you're done, which I'll get to, you simply just export them as a CSV. And I will get to all that later. Simply we're just going over the spreadsheet as I speak. So if we continue right, we'll hit this corner room, which is, as it says in it, room, curio, MASH. So we've dealt with 2 of these before. We dealt with the room and we've dealt with MASH before. But now we have a curio in this room. And as the comment says, this room has a curio and an encounter. And you can see how they're split up with the semicolon. So you can append multiple things to a room. Of course, you can put like an obstacle or a trap in a room. But you could, as you can see here, throw a curio and an encounter in the room. And this would show up in game as a guarded curio. Well, download it. Have you to try and make a map? Well, we're doing that now, and hopefully you'll learn how to do it. If I've done my job right. Let me zoom out a little bit. So as you can see here, we can make corridors with different, they don't have to be straight, they don't have to be uniform. As you know in game from, like the Darkest Dungeon quests or Wolf or any of the Crimson Core quests, I believe, we can make corridors with whatever shape we want. As it says here, corridors can take more intricate paths, but just remember that the corridors adjacent to rooms are considered doors and not corridors. So these two would not appear in game. These would be the doors. So even further lower on, we can see this room here with a texture definition of room_wall.barrels. This is an empty room that calls specific artwork instead of a random background. And if you want to know how to call specific backgrounds, let's come over to the modded game a second. And if we go into the dungeons and the crypts, because again this is a crypts quest or ruins quest, we can see the room_wall.barrels background right here. So this room will always call this specific background. And that's very important. That's used if you're trying to make a quest with, that's kind of more linear, like, you have the hero slowly getting closer to like this crazy thing, and the backgrounds slowly get crazier and crazier. That way you can control what backgrounds appear. So let's keep going to the left now. We've hit a hunger tile. Hunger is indeed tiles, are tiles that appear on the map, and when you create your own maps, you need to place your own hunger tiles if you want hunger to appear. Hungers aren't random, they are indeed tiles. And I could show that really quickly, actually. Let's open this up here. Give me 1 second to change something. Okay, that is muted. Sorry. Just changing something. A little bit of dev magic. Just so I can show you how this works. Too many hunger tiles IRL. Know how you feel sometimes. Alright. We'll get back to this. Now, let me just create a common rabble. Oops. I know why that happened. Shouldn't be a problem though. Don't worry, I didn't leak anything. Let me fix that. I know what I did. I made a mistake. It's all fixed now. We're all good. Now I can actually show you what I wanted to show. So I'm going to load up into a quest here. And I'm going to kill the skeleton right away. We don't need that. But I'm going to use a dev command to show you what the map looks like from a dev's point of view. And you'll be able to see some things that you wouldn't see otherwise normally. So let's kill this bugger. Alright, thank you. Tutorial pop-ups, I get it. Playing the game. We even get some scouting. Which actually might help, because if we scout some things, we'll be able to show you how different it looks with dev commands. So you can see here, I enable what I enable, and you can see that these hunger tiles are actually shown in game. Now not all of these will proc, of course, because there are cooldowns on hunger tiles. But we can see that hunger is indeed an invisible tile that does not appear through normal play. That's pretty interesting to know, right? Which spreadsheet editor do you prefer for curios and maps? Either works. Obviously, it's just very basic what you're doing. Most of it is just copying and pasting and writing in what you want. Exporting is exactly the same. It's not going to be any different. Personally, I like Google Sheets. Mainly just because I can share if I wanted to. I don't have to worry about losing content. Excel will absolutely be better in every way. because you know it's Excel. But you know, if you want to use Google Sheets, go ahead. You can download the map not only on there, but you can also download it as an XLS for Excel. So if you just wanted to like use this in Excel, use it whatever you want. But we can see that the hunger tiles do actually they do appear, or they don't appear, but they do appear. They are actual tiles, so they do need to be set. So if we continue left, we have another room match. We've already gone over that. But right before this final room, we have this tag here. So if remember that tags are separated by semicolons, we can see that this is a corridor. And then in between the next semicolons is this. We have a hidden door equals, and then in quotes, hidden door, or hidden room 1. And then in the next set of semicolons, we have hidden door accessible. So this is saying that this is a corridor with a hidden door, and this is the tag, and then the hidden door is accessible. It's not visible, but it's accessible. So this is a hidden door to a secret room that is right below it. We can see here that this is a room because it has the R tag, or you could put room as well. R and room are interchangeable. And it's tagged with the hidden room 1 tag. So these two are now linked. It is hidden, so you cannot see this room. And the treasure inside is equal to the heirloom chest curio ID. So that's very, very simple. You simply need to set the tag. And the tag needs to be consistent with whatever room is going to be entered. Hidden. And then the treasure or curio that's inside. You can even put a mash in there if you want to. So it's like a guarded secret room. So we can see how all of this works in a more standard quest. And this is actually the tutorial quest that I designed in vanilla. Which I know it's kind of over on the left and it can be hard to see things. But if you have this open, which again you can get to via the official curio guide on Steam, you can see how this all looks. And if you've ever played the tutorial quest in game, you can see how these certain things start to kind of pan out and how easy it can be to make quests. You know, you simply just need to do a lot of copying and pasting and design work. So we want to use this to our advantage to create this tutorial quest. And I'm actually going to do it within this because I think that not only can you follow me along if you're within the spreadsheet right now, but if you open up the spreadsheet at any time, you'll then be able to see the quest that I've made. So I am actually going to make this in real time if you're watching. So I'm going to duplicate this blank map, drag it over. We're gonna call this tutorial stream map. And it's going to export as this. So if we wanted to set this in our plot quest as the map name, we can. Is it possible to choose specific hallway backgrounds like the room backgrounds? Unfortunately, no. I absolutely wish this were possible. I tried to do it myself, but unfortunately, no. Also, are locked doors possible like in the DLC? Absolutely. I do not have the map. I do not have the Crimson Court map files publicly available. But I could. They aren't locked, but they are possible. I just don't know what you would have to put in to make them visible. But I can look into that. So for the map name, we can simply put tutorial stream map. Nobody's gonna see this name in the game, so we don't have to worry about it like appearing inexplicably. And now let's think of what we want to make. This is going to be a medium quest, as we said, with about 3 to 4 fights before the boss, 2 to 3 obstacles, 2 to 3 food checks, a secret room, and a couple Iron Maidens. So let's take a look at the map generation for a quest type of kill boss. I have to sneeze here so I can give you 1 minute. Oh, maybe I don't. Thought I did. Alright, we're better. So right here in the quest, we have these medium-sized maps for kill boss in the crypts. And we can see exactly how many rooms we should kind of be aiming for. And the grid size, spacing, of course, we can do anything we want. We have some liberties with our design. But generally, we should be aiming for around, probably, I would say, 11 to 13 rooms. So let's start off by putting in an entrance. And where this goes is not necessarily important. I wouldn't start building your map all the way over here if you're not going to plan on coming over here a bit. But I also would leave some room over here just in case you want to expand that way a bit. So I think my crypts map is going to be very closed off. I like the thought that crypts or ruins are kind of private, especially crypts, because, you know, that's where dead people are put. And people like to pay their respects in privacy. So this is not going to be very connected of a map. Instead, it's going to be very disconnected. So I'm going to start by putting the entrance here. Now, when we start placing hallway tiles or corridor tiles up here, we need to remember that the ones adjacent to a room are actually the doors. So this is not a tile that's going to show up in game, but rather this one is, and this is going to be the door. So if we wanted 4 corridor tiles between rooms, we would want to put 4, and then doors, and then a room. So now we have 2 doors and 4 in between corridors. So let's start now by, let's go down a bit. We're going to put 6. I'm going to try to keep these about the same. I'm literally just designing this off the top of my head right now. I'm not really going to go too crazy with it. Maybe we can have a split here. And we'll come down a little bit. I'm just going to put blank rooms in for now. We can fill them in later. Right now, I just want to kind of create the outline for the map. Alright, that's going to be the door, remember? So I want to put a couple here. These are going to be a little bit longer. So these are actually going to be 7 hallway tiles instead of 4. So these are definitely a bit longer. Alright, perfect. So we're now up to a total of 6 rooms. So we're already about halfway to the amount of rooms that we want to be available. And that's always a good thing to keep in mind. It's always a good thing to remember. Let's put a very short hallway here. Now instead of going sideways, let's come out a little bit. Remember effectively that this is going to be very short, only a 3 tile break in between rooms. Let me fill that in a bit. Alright, now let's mirror this. right. That's a room. So we're now up to 6, 7, 8, 9, 11. So let's put in 2 more rooms. Let's put a room here. Let's not put a room there. That's a very bad place for a room. Instead, do that. And then we will make each of these make its way down to all right. This looks good. And then we can put the final room here, but we don't know what that looks like. And I don't know if the tutorial actually goes over this. I need to pull something else up. Let me pull something else up real quick. I might have to hide some of it though. Some of it might be not wanted to be shared by Red Hook. I don't want to show something they don't want me to show, or be angry at me showing. Oh wait, is it? Oh no, we're good. I just didn't notice it. I'm stupid. Up here we have this our final room. That's precisely what we want to put down there. I believe that automatically spawns the boss. I'm almost 100% sure that automatically spawns the boss. If we're wrong, we'll figure that out. But I'm pretty sure that is precisely what we want to put. So we have our entrance up here. We have a room that's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We have precisely about the amount of rooms that you would find in a vanilla dungeon. And this layout looks pretty good. I don't think it's gonna go, it might get a little cramped up here and here, but it should still be relatively visible. Again, if we need to adjust anything, we just simply make changes and, you know, reload it to see what it looks like, right? But for now, we have a pretty good indicator for what we want to appear. So now we want to place 3 to 4 fights in the path before the boss. So I'm going to come up here and I'm going to put a mash in this corridor. I'm going to put a room fight right here. Let's put a curio over here. I'm going to put a hallway mash over here. Let's put another curio here. Mash there, mash there, mash there. And I'm trying to just equal out the amount of fights that you'll see before a... Let's adjust that. I'm just trying to equal out the amount of fights that you'll see before you get to the boss. So this is also going to be a mash here, so we can pretend like this is a mash. This is simply just going to be a curio and a mash in the same room, which I can do by putting curio equals. Actually, we can just do any old curio in that room, and then we'll do a mash. I should spawn a random curio. So we can see there's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then the final battle. Of course, if we pull up here, we can see that there are 4 to 5 hallway battles and about 4 to 5 room battles. So we could even place mashes in these two. Is there a way to put a specific fight in? Yes, we will be doing that for all of these actually. For now, we just want the kind of the basic design to be put into place. So now let's get some traps in here. Let's put an obstacle here, like this place was walled off and you have to excavate it to get to it. That's kind of, you know, some fun. Let's put it right before the door. Let's put a trap in over here. Let's put a trap in right here. And we'll even put another trap in here. Another obstacle, let's put right here. And we'll put an obstacle. Put an obstacle right here. So you have at least two are forced to do 2 obstacles, and you might have to do a 3rd one. You can, of course, since you're right there, always turn around and just not do that. In which case you'll have to go over here and do a mash and a trap. Alright. Let's get some hunger tiles in. We can simply come over to one of our other things and copy what is existing. Let's do a hunger tile here and a hunger tile here. So if they take the right side, they'll hit a couple hunger tiles. If they take the left, they might not hit any. Alright, that looks about good. Let's maybe do some hallway curios because we do want some Iron Maidens to appear. I just actually typed V in there. For this, there are about 14 hallway curios, so let's throw in some curios. Let's throw in one here. Let's throw in one here. Let's have this mash right here be guarding one. Curio equals another one here, here. I'm going to do a curio over here. Get that ready. And then we'll do another curio here and here. All right. Perfect. Now for this curio here, let's do an Iron Maiden. I am not typing in that for some reason. What other curios do we want? We wanted a couple Iron Maidens. So let's do another Iron Maiden here. Remember, I am doing equals. You can see up here as well if this is too small. They do appear in both places. And that looks good. There's an undefined curio here. Let's just simply do a random one. Ones that are undefined we'll simply call from a random pool. So that's okay if they're random. Now we want all these mashes to be predetermined, just like Saka in the chat asked. Also, hi, Ralphran. Please correct me if I'm pronouncing these wrong. We want all of these meshes to be predefined. We don't want them to call from the random table, but rather we want them to call from our predetermined table. We want to put in our affixes, for instance. And we can do that simply by putting mash equals and then the ID or the name that we want to appear. So for this, we're going to do our mod mash 1. Enter. And we're going to copy this for each of the mashes, but put mash 2 in here. The mash is going to be mash 3. There's a mash up here. So let's do, oops. Let's do mash 4. Mash 5. Mash 6. Mash 7. Mash 8. Mash 9. I believe that is all of the mashes. So we have 9 fights total that we need to define. And that is very, very simple. I'm going to come over to the modded game here to show you exactly what it's supposed to look like. So the tutorial Crypts quest over here does indeed call specific mash. We can see tutorial mash 01. So let's open up the Crypts one mash, which is the apprentice mashes, and we can see these named as we've already made with the IDs. And that's simply all we need to do, is we need to make more named, put in the IDs that we put in, and then define them. And then that's how we can control exactly what spawns. Super, super easy. So we have already actually made mashes. We're not going to keep them, of course. Are we? Oh no, we had to make these, but the here's the condition, or the additional ones. We aren't going to have any additional ones. But we are going to have, or we're not going to have any additional ones with our affixes. We only want our affixes to actually appear within our quest. If you want your any affixes you make, or any additional enemies you make, you can keep these. But just for this mod, we're actually going to have we're not going to have any of that. So I'm going to close out of everything else. I'm going to open up these real quick. And I'm going to delete our affixes here. Because again, we want these to only appear within a certain dungeon. And we don't actually need this. As a matter of fact, we don't need the additional mashes for 1 and 3. We only want them for 5, because this is a quest that can only appear in Champion. So let's come over to our modded game real quick. Actually, we don't need that. We can just come into one of these, and we can just copy one of these named. Doesn't matter what it says for now. We're simply going to keep it. Let's get rid of that, and let's get rid of the types. So for the name, we want to name this our mod mash 1, as it appears within our as it appears in here, our mod mash and then the number. And we have a total of, how many again? 8, 9. We had a total of 9 of these. So let's just come up here and copy this, however many times that was. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Perfect. 9. All right. So we now have our 9 named mashes, and of course we can keep the chance 1 because there aren't any that they need to compete with. There's only a single instance of these names in the files, and then the types will need to be defined. So let's define these right now. What am I looking for? Our mod. We come into the monsters. We can see that we have created now, we haven't created any brigand bloodletters, we haven't created any, what was it? Oh no, we did create courtiers. So we created cultist witches, ghouls, skeleton captains, courtiers, and militia. All 5 of these enemies here do indeed have affixes. So we want to include these in a relatively kind of strategized way. We don't want to throw in ghouls, like right away, but we do want to have some of our affix ghouls in here because this is the only place where they will appear. So I'm simply going to come over here and we're going to move this over, and I'm going to type in some things. Ghoul, martyrdom, and that is F. Because remember, this is a champion quest, so our other 2 ghouls aren't actually being used. But it is a good thing to have them in place anyway, just in case we need to use them or we want to eventually put these into apprentice dungeons. We already have them made. We don't need to do anything other than add some mashes in. So we're already a step ahead of ourselves. It's not like they take up very much space anyway. One of these affixes takes up, like 9 kilobytes. So it's not too bad of a, it's not too big a file to keep around. The cultist witch is inspirational, if I remember correctly. So witch, inspirational, no, it's charming. Charming witch. And that is also F, correct? Yes. The skeleton captain is not an affix, that is the boss. The courtier, we have, that is inspirational. So courtier, inspirational, and that is also F. And the militia, we have our curio summons, which I think our G, H, and I, so D, E, and F is going to be our royal soldiers. Soldier, royal, and that is also F. So all of our affixes are going to be ending in F, which makes it very simple to work with. So I'm just going to keep that open over on the side here. And let's also open up the Crypts Tier 5 mashes from vanilla. And I'm going to drag them, right click, move to other view, and we can now see them over here. So I would say for this first fight, which is right up here, we have this mash one. This is kind of the first one you appear in. It's the first fight of the dungeon. We want it to be difficult, but not too crazy. We didn't want to throw in the ghouls right away, but we can probably throw in maybe one of the courtiers, right? We can kind of show people what this is. So let's find one of the, let's find a mash here in a hallway, because this is a hallway that utilizes a courtier, and let's throw in, so we have right here, we have a skeleton rabble, skeleton soldier, and 2 courtiers. I'm actually going to take the one with the arbalist right here below it. And over here, let's put this in, and instead of the courtier C, we'll do courtier F. That's it. We now have a regular rabble, inspirational courtier, and a regular arbalist. Let's do number 2. So now we have a room battle, and I kind of want to throw in one of our royal soldiers. So let's search for a room battle with a soldier. I don't want to do Madman. I want to do a witch at this moment either. Let's do 2 arbalists, a defender, and a royal soldier. And we'll simply change it to F. Alright. Mash number 3 is this one down here, is another hallway. Let's throw in another one of our soldiers. So let's find another hallway soldier. Let's do this. This is a pretty tough hallway. Let's do a rabble, soldier, and arbalist. Alright. This room curio over here, let's make it a pretty tough guarded curio. Mash number 4. Let's throw in one of our charming witches. So one thing we need to remember about throwing in a charming witch is that if we want her to charm on her first turn, there needs to only be 3 enemies in the enemy team comp. So if we copy over a witch one like this with 4 enemies, she won't be able to use her charm. So when we copy over something like this, let's remember to only copy 3 enemies. Changes F, and that way she can use it immediately on her first action, because there are only 3 enemies in the comp. And I should mention that it's not just 3 enemies, but it's a size 3 team comp. So if this were like a ghoul here, it would take up all 4 spots, of course, because the ghoul takes up 2, courtier 1, and witch 1, so she wouldn't be able to use it. So it's all about the size of the comp. All right. Down here we have mash number 5. Let's throw our ghoul in here. This is a forced battle. You can't skip it, of course. Let's find one of our ghouls. Now, ghouls normally only take place in corridors. If we want to stick with that, which we could, but I kind of want to throw him in a room. Why not, right? Let's take 2 gargoyles and a ghoul, paste him in, and throw F in. Alright. So number 6 is this mash over here. We have not done an inspirational courtier for a while, so let's do another one of those. I don't want to throw it in with a skeleton bearer. That might be a little bit too mean, but we could throw it in with a madman if we wanted to. Maybe this right here. All right. Let's see. Mash number 7, which will be this one. Let's throw in. Let's throw in another ghoul. Let's do him with some maggots. That makes sure that both of these are kind of equally dangerous. You have a madman and a courtier in one, and a ghoul and some maggots in another. The ghoul being the main driving force behind that difficulty. We have another mash down here, which is number 8, second to last. We've done 2 ghouls now, only 1 witch, 2 courtiers, and 2 soldiers, I think. So we could throw in another witch into this room battle. Let's see. Or because, where was the witch in the first one? That was in mash number 4, which was over here, right? So let's throw in the witch over into mash number 9 instead. We can go out of order, it's okay. Where's our witches? We could do a witch and a ghoul. Pretty nasty. But let's do a witch, a brawler, and a defender. So maybe the defender, if he gets an action in, could defend the person that was charmed. Alright. And lastly, let's throw in a soldier into room 8. Let's find another skeleton soldier. Let's do courtier, witch, militia, and brawler. Do a hybrid. Alright, perfect. Yeah, that looks good. Alright. Give me 1 second to think if we need anything else before being able to actually... We're not actually going to be testing this until Monday. Which I know I would say everybody's kind of antsy, like, let's test this, let's see if it works. We'll do that on Monday because we need to learn how to upload our mod. It ties directly in with that because it's automatically compiled. When we do that, we will download this as a CSV beforehand. One thing we do want to adjust, if need be, there is up here a comment, we just have to see. But it says, for this map there are no global variables, but there is a single variable that can be placed in this box. Fog of war equals on. We'll make it so only the next rooms are visible to you and not the entire dungeon. And this is used in all the darkest dungeon quests. We can use this if we want to hide the entire dungeon's layout. If we wanted to, I don't think it's necessary, but I am going to include it just to show. So let's do that. Let's do fog of war equals on. Let me set this to black text. Alright, that looks good. I don't think there's anything else that we've missed. Let's go over. Mash is defined. Curio is random. That looks good. That's good. I think these are all good. So let's come up here and let's go File, Download As. We want to download as a comma separated value or .csv. And if I open this in my folder, I'm gonna, where is our mod? We want to create a new folder in our mod and name it Maps. And I'm going to copy what was downloaded and place it in here. And you see it's downloaded very long. If we open this up, it's just going to look weird, but it is the correct file setup for our thing. We don't want to adjust anything in here though. It's very unsafe to do so. Just make sure that if you ever make any changes, you want to re-download that CSV. But in here, we want to name this precisely what is named in the ID, which is going to be tutorial stream map. And this needs to be exactly what is called here. It's very, very important to do that. So we have our plot quest set up, we have our quest type set up, we have our mashes set up that are named correctly with all of our new affixes in place. And we have our CSV ready to go when we are ready to upload it. There's one last thing we need, and this is going to be rather tough to pull up. We need all the strings that are going to be associated with our quest. Now let's see. It looks like they merged them all into miscellaneous, which again I must show my dissent for because you have like every single thing now in miscellaneous compared to the nice setup of how it used to be. Let me in PBD's localization, they used to be set up kind of all in here. So all the activity log strings, which were these strings to show for quests, they were all neatly sorted. It was very easy to kind of make your own because you could easily see these. You could easily see what you needed to write. So we're going to be using, I'm just going to use PBD's file for now to write our mods strings. So we're going to open up our string file. We're going to put quest strings below here. And there's going to be a lot that we need. We might even forget some. It's very possible. Don't worry if you do, you can always add them later. So for starters, let's go up here and let's see what we need initially. Let's search for kill boss. And right away we can see embarked on kill boss crypts. Set forth to purge our ancestral ruins of Necromancer. We don't actually want that. We want plot kill Necromancer 3. Or even if we wanted to, we could see how Wolf is set up, which will be in Radiant, correct? Let's see, let's search for Wolf. Or Invasion. It's gonna be my quest Invasion. Was it in Radiant? No, it was not Radiant. I'm going off my rocker here. It was in the that's not PBD. It was in the March update, wasn't it? That's right, it was the Antiquarian. No, it wasn't. Someone can help me here. It was in town events. Duh. Duh. So let's search for everything related to plot town invasion 0. I'm simply going to do that by copying it and bookmarking all the lines. So we can see now all of the things that are related to Plot Invasion Zero are going to be bookmarked. And this way we can check exactly what we need to put in for our own mod strings. So let's go ahead and copy all of these, paste them. And down here we have the tip. We'll need that. Strings are quite tedious, but at least they don't cause crashes. That's very true. If you ever miss one, you can simply just, you see what it says and you replace it, you know? And most likely if you are missing a string, there's probably an example of what it should look like already, you know? Because it's not like you can add new mechanics, so if you like miss the name of a trinket, you can simply look at how other trinkets look. So we have all of the quest strings for the Plot Town Invasion Zero, but we want to replace Plot Town Invasion Zero with our quest that we stupidly closed. Why did we close that? I don't know. With our mod plot quest. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm simply going to do a quick replace. We can replace all. Done. And we'll save that. So now let's change them. So town plot quest, not town event plot quest, or mod plot quest confirm. Holy cow. There is no quest confirm on these. This is saying by ignoring brigand incursion events, you are allowing your hamlet to be raised. You must battle the merciless brigands and miscrumbling. This is an easy task. Treating will result in the death of one of your heroes. So we don't have any of these confirmed dialogues. So we actually don't need either of these. Dungeon name, town. We didn't need to copy that. I don't know why we did. That was an accident. Plot name. Perfect. So we do need to have our name for our quest. Let's name this Champion of the Ruins. Just came up with that. You can name it whatever you want. The description for the quest: 2 arms, a brigand raiding party, blah blah. We don't want that. We want ready your swords and resolves. The champion lurking in the ruins is a large and formidable one. Again, just, you know, it just needs to work, right? So the caretaker goal for our mod quest is going to be the one that appears within the statue. This is the caretaker goal. Is it possible to increase or decrease stats of an enemy based on the rank they're in? Yes, that is very off topic, but yeah, but yes. Yes, it is. You can apply a buff that is in rank. Look for the in_rank buff rule type in the buff file. It's not going to be repel the brigand incursion, it's going to be defeat the champion of the ruins. Actually, what is the name of our guy again? What was the name? Like the King of Bones? So it is going to be the King of Bones. So maybe we should rename this to defeat the King of Bones. All right, cool. Yeah, no, don't worry. You can ask. Really, I'd rather you ask now while I'm like, you know, actually doing this. So that's okay. All right, return from our mod with a success. So this is what will appear in the activity log if a party comes back successful. All right, let's do that. Let's put defeated the King of Bones. Put this in little single quotation marks. Why not the Emperor of Bones? I don't know. I'm not going to rename it. You can't make me. On failure, skirmish with the brigands at great cost. Let's do were crushed. Wait. Yeah, let's do were crushed. Just want to make sure like the wording is correct. Crushed by the King of Bones. Alright. Embarked on our quest. So this is what will appear in the activity log when they embarked on the quest itself. So let's put left to lay the King of Bones to rest. Now this is the tip that appears on the loading screen when the person is loading in. So let's put a little bit of like lore here. Let's just make up some lore about the King of Bones. The King of Bones was once a general of the great Western armies, but once felled he was resurrected by a necromancer and now leads the armies of the dead. Whatever, right? Town quests progress. Found the hamlet from Riggin Raid. Where does that appear? Town quests progress. I don't know where that appears. I'm not familiar with where this appears. Let's just simply change it to something that, you know, should appear, right? Defeat the King of Bones. Perfect. Alright. So that should be everything that is needed there. Yep. That should be everything. So let's copy this for, well, you know what? I don't want to get too cocky about it. What if we miss something? We will need town event info. I'm not going to get into that just yet. Mainly because we need to get the titles in and anything else you missed. We don't need voiceover, so we don't need this line. It should be good. There's no way for me to force this just yet. Yes, there is. I could. I don't know if we're missing anything just yet, though. I don't think we are. You know what? Let's test that before we call this stream, because this actually didn't take too long. I thought this would take longer, but I guess that makes sense. I guess that's my curse, is the streams I think will take the least amount of time take the most amount of time, and the streams I think will take the most amount of time take the least amount of time. Oh well. So let's copy these strings for the other languages as we have been doing. We don't want our glorious Russian or Spanish or German speaking people to be without strings, even if they may not be able to read them very well. Would you mind quickly going over how to add the localized strings to your mod? Oh, it's just the default strings around the batch file. Yes, we will be doing that tomorrow. That is part of the uploader. Right now we're kind of doing this all within our local directories, but tomorrow it will all make sense. I gotta do a little bit of testing because I'm a little worried that Actually, I can test it now because I have not been testing it. But I'm a little worried that if we like RAR this, it's going to pick up this SVN folder, which is not big because we don't have a lot of like saved things, but with PVD, the SVN is here, but I don't actually I don't build RARs from these folders. I have folders of my mod and of the patches that I build off of. But here we might have caused some problems. There's a way around this though. There's definitely a way around this. I kind of want to test those. Let me add this to an RAR. It is. It copied all of the SVN files. And we don't really want to, not going to buy WinRAR. We don't really want to copy the SVN folder. We can work around this with command lines, but there is another thing we can do. If we make a new folder, our mod export. I'm calling it export simply because if we go to Tortoise SVN export and we select the URL of a repository, which in this case is our mod repo, and we export to the head revision, now inside here we have our entire mod, but without the SVN folder. So we can use that to build off of. And we can, I believe, no, we can't. You would have to export it every time. So I have, if anybody's following along, I may have caused you a little bit of a problem. I apologize. We can fix that though. Not a huge deal. What was I on about before I got sidetracked? Majorly sidetracked. Okay, yeah, we copied all of our quest string files over, and now I do kind of want to see if we can start this up without too many errors. I'm gonna test that, but I will have to do some dev magic behind the scenes. But for now, let's simply copy over everything from our mod files over to the modded directory, paste it in, run the localization, and let's just initially see if a town start loads up with any errors, which hopefully it won't. We already are. Our mod quest types, a comma, an array element. We're already missing something. Let's fix that. That's okay. I must have copied something over and forgotten to put something in. Must be a comma after an array element. What array element is missing a comma? I bet it's this. I bet it, because remember I said that there might be an extra. There is. I think there's just an extra. I think that's all that it was. Let's see if that was it. If not, we'll have to keep looking. Alright, it appears we're safe. That was it. I was right, there was an extra one there, and it did error out. Alright. We don't have any errors. We still have that incompatible quirk, which I think I was looking into that because again we did name them correctly, right? If we go to our mod, just so we can take a look at it again, in our quirks we actually did copy the vanilla quirk library, and in alcoholism, I can actually spell it. God, you can tell I'm still a little bit overtired and sick here. We did put Russian in here. It's obviously named correctly. It's not put in incorrectly. And in our mod, we have alcoholism listed as an incompatible quirk. So what I think it's doing is like, it's loading up this before this, maybe. I don't know. It's weird how it's acting, but the code isn't wrong. I think it's the debug is loading wrong. So I want to use some dev magic now real quickly. I can put my be right back screen up. And I want to see if we can load this up with our map. I don't know if this is going to cause a problem. I forget the ID of our quest actually. Already. Be correct. I don't actually anticipate that this will cause a problem, but might. Oh, duh, we haven't actually built the map. That's why I said we couldn't do it. So we haven't built the map. I don't think that there are any problems though, because we loaded up into the town. There weren't any debug output. We will go over building the map tomorrow. I did just show you that if you don't build the map, it won't show up, obviously. This is not a built map. This is not what built maps look like. Built maps will look like, will be these DMs. And these DMs are made when you run the uploader, which we'll be doing tomorrow. So don't be too worried. It's like, it doesn't work. In 2 days, we will be building this map. We'll be testing it, making sure that it works. We will be playing it, just to test its balance, to make sure that everything works as intended based on our design here. What else? Can I get my overview up? Where's my overview? So I have this overview, which says we'll be creating the map and then uploading mods. We'll be going over all that. My rough outline, design, setup, layout, encounters. We did that, and then tomorrow is the town event, any miscellaneous files we need, and then we'll be testing it, which should be pretty short. Most of that is actually going to be us playing, and then just talking about uploading mods, which is very, very simple. One thing I do want to go over though is let's actually get our directory fixed here for tomorrow, just so we don't, or not tomorrow, Monday, not tomorrow, Monday. I want to get this directory fixed up so we don't have this SVN folder here. And that's going to be a little bit of a problem. First off, let's just commit our changes today. Let's do all of our changes that we've made. Custom map. Quest files for custom map. Encounters for custom map. And that's about it. That's about all we need. So we want to merge all of this into a new folder. So I want to create a new folder here. I kind of remember how to do this. And I would want to put our mod data as the title, our mod. Actually, I want you to name this precisely what you would name your mod, as it would appear. So if like your mod was named Pitch Black Dungeon, of course, just out of, you would name it Pitch Black Dungeon with proper capitals. So name this whatever you're going to name your mod as it would appear like on the Steam page. So just for instance, we're going to call this our mod. And I want to move all this in here, but I don't want to just copy it. I want to actually, there's a feature that we can do this by. Let's see if we can figure it out. I did it once, forgot how to do it now, but we're going to figure it out. Let's see. There's supposed to be a move command. Should we just search it? Should we make our life easy and just figure out how to search? I'm going to do that real quickly. Let me load this up. Tortoise SVN move repository. What is it called? Moving files and folders. Oh, I see. Okay, so select the files you want to move or the folders, which in this case is going to be this, right? It's going to be all of these. And we want to right drag them to the new location. So hold right click, not left click. And when you do this, you can select what is it? It's not move here. It should be SVN move version files here. This might need to be versioned. So let's quickly upload this. By coming up here and committing, let's do new data folder. I'm very confident that that needs to actually be versioned. Remember to right click drag again. Here we go. So we want to put SVN move versioned files here. The top one. We need to update. Let's quickly do an update, not a commit. Sometimes that can happen. It should work now. Hopefully, we're all good. Why it's taking so long on the curios? This is denied. Oh, I know why. Because we have it open. Let's undo this real quick. Let's come up here and let's do tortoise SVN revert. Select all. Alright, so we got it back to normal. Let's do this again. Make sure you do not have the files open. That is a big no-no, as we saw. That is why it was denied. Please work. There's one other thing that might be causing it if it's if it won't work. Let's see here. That's not open. Did it actually move any in here? Oh, it did. Let's undo that. Yeah, we want to revert that. Sorry guys, doing something I've only done once before. It might think that it's open in Explorer, which is weird. I know. What do we do this then? We move it. There we go. You just want to close out of Explorer real quick, but it should then correctly show that this is ready to commit, and we can press all, and it should have moved them all. So we can do moved to new directory. All right, perfect. So now when we want to build our mod, which we can do simply by doing the RIR, it won't copy over that SVN file because it's not there. The SVN file it will always stay in the topmost root directory, which is good. And I believe we can still access the log, but we will need to, as it says, for complete history, deselect stop on copy rename, which is all the way on the bottom here, and should show all of them. You might have more, but you might have to come and select a specific file. Like, what's a file we've had for a long time? Like this one. There. So you can see them all now. So they're still there. So all the file logs are still there, of course. If you need to address them, they will just be in different locations, but you can still come and compare them between. But only if you do it that way. If you just simply drag and drop and then recommit, it will show incorrectly. So you of course only want to make sure that you do it that way, the official SVN move way. I don't know why that's saying it's still nothing changed. You can fix that if you know nothing's changed. You can simply come up to Tortoise SVN, do cleanup, and it refresh the shell overlays, and that should fix it from showing that it's modified when we know it's not. So that should get everything ready for Monday. I do apologize that that move was a little complicated. I had only done that once before with PBD's vast thousands of files, literally thousands, because I had to do the same thing to get ready for the workshop. Oh boy, 5.3 thousand files. We're up to quite a few files as well. We have, actually that's going to count the SVN as well. Yeah, we're up to 107 files. It's crazy. Remember when we just started with just some like trinket panels and stuff? So it's cool. We're getting all ready. And on Monday we should be able to finish up the rest of this. I'm gonna pull up the schedule. I know it's not really necessary, but you can see on Monday that we will be going over the final aspects of creating our own map. We're going to be creating the town event to actually spawn the quest. We're going to be making sure that it works, and we're going to be uploading the mod as a whole to Steam. You can even download it if you want, and mess around with the files, so you can see, just how we handle things on stream, or chew it apart, do whatever you want with it. But that should be very, very simple, very, very quick. And most of our time on Monday will be spent testing the map itself to make sure that it works without error and that it's balanced. But I don't anticipate how long it'll take. So if there are any questions about what we went over, please ask them now while I close things. If there aren't any questions, I guess we'll call it there then. That was rather short, a lot shorter than I thought it would take. I mean, we could have missed something very important that I don't know about. Hopefully we didn't. We will find out tomorrow once we test if we've missed any strings or icons or whatever. Did I say tomorrow or did I say Monday? It is on Monday. If I keep saying tomorrow, I mean Monday. Monday the 7th at 1 p.m. Alright. Well, thank you for showing up. Thank you for watching on YouTube, of course. The final episode is again on Monday, 1 p.m. CST. I look forward to seeing you all there. So thank you again, and have a wonderful rest of your day.